Hi Vanguard, welcome back to Cooking with Sean. Today we're going to cook yummy hot drinks, and we're going to make two of them for you today. The first is chai and the second is white hot chocolate. I hope you enjoy them as much as my family does. So, to make chai, there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind. Number one, just call it chai. You don't need to call it chai tea. Chai literally means tea, so that's the first thing. The second thing is make it your own. Okay, so the ingredients I'm going to use are 6 cups of water, 2 cups of whole milk, but you could also use, I made this with non-dairy options as well. I prefer cashew milk the best, but I made it with soy milk, almond milk, coconut. Use whatever you want. It's, chai is meant to be modified, so do what works for you. Then you're going to need 6 tea bags, 1 2-inch piece of ginger cut up into small little circles, a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, and for the spice mix, you're going to need about 2 to 4 cinnamon sticks, around 6 pods of green cardamom. Do not use black cardamom, that's for something else. 6 pods of green cardamom, 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, around 10 whole cloves, and if you like spicier chai, just a little pinch of cayenne pepper, but we're not going to use that today. So, before you bring anything liquid into the pot, what I want you to do is take your spices, put them into the pot, turn your heat on to high. For the cinnamon sticks, don't just throw them in, break them in half. That brings out the flavor of the cinnamon a lot more. And the reason why we're going to cook these but you can use a frying pan if you want, I just don't want to do more dishes. So in the chai pot, you have these on your heat, and this is just toasting the spices. The reason why you do that is it really brings out a lot of their flavor. So toast these for just a few minutes before you add the water. That's going to make your chai a lot more flavorful and a lot more. It's going to bring out the flavor of the spices a lot more. Just stir these around. It is high heat. You can also just shake it like this. Although this is a cast iron pot, so I can't do that too often or I'll burn my hands. But just shake it, stir it. If you also want, you can use the flat end of your ladle and just do that. This is just called bruising the spices a little bit. That also helps to bring out their flavor. So do that. And you can smell it already. When you start to smell of the spices toasting, that's a good indication to get ready to add your water. So we'll leave this for a few more seconds. Okay. Toasting well. And then we're going to add the water. Slowly, or it's going to splash off at you. So now what we're going to do is I'll just let you have a look at what's in there. There you go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the lid of your pot and we're going to cover that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let the water boil. When it comes to a boil, then we're going to add some other things. After you add your spices in the water, add your ginger. Put that in there, just like that. There you go. And we'll let that cook. Okay, so after about 10 or 15 minutes, depending on your heat in your pot, the water should be boiling. So what you want to do is take the lid off of your pot and turn the heat off. What you're going to do then is you're going to remove this from the heat, and you're going to add your tea bags. Okay, now it doesn't really matter what kind of tea you use for this. I would avoid using any kind of flavored tea because the spices are going to overpower that flavor completely. So you don't need to have any kind of flavored tea. I would also avoid using loose tea because you're going to take this off the heat. These tea bags have to steep for 5 minutes. And then you're going to take just the tea bags out. See, if you use loose tea, what's going to happen is you're going to have to leave that in there and strain it out when you strain the rest of it, and that's going to be really bitter. So don't use loose tea. Any kind of tea bags will do. Leave that off the heat for 5 minutes, and when it steeps, take the tea bags out, and then we will add the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so our tea bags have been steeping for about 5 minutes. We're going to put that back on the burner. We're going to turn the heat back up to high, and we're going to just take out the tea bags. These are just orange pico. We're going to put them on the plate right there. What we're going to do next is we're going to, what we want to do is we want to get this back up to a boil, okay? But while we do that, we're going to add now the brown sugar. And we're going to get this up to a boil. Just use your tongs, stir that in there. And then we're going to add the milk. Now the good thing about chai is, like I said, make it your own. You don't have to use whole milk. There have been times I've even used cream for this. And even for the spices, you can add a lot more. You can add different kinds of spices like star anise if you wanted to. Either way, make it your own. It's a fun drink to make, and anything you add is going to make it yummy, so that's okay. So we're going to leave this, and we're going to cover it again, because we want to get this not back to quite a boil, but just to like a steady simmer, okay? And that should take a few minutes, and then we're going to strain it, and it will be ready to drink. So after about 5 minutes or so, you should start to see bubbles around the rim of the pot and on top. That means that it's ready to come off. At this point, basically what you're doing is you're just heating up the milk. So the next step is you're going to take this and strain it. But before you do, again, this is very hot liquid, and you're going to be pouring it in. So you're going to want to protect yourself with an apron. Okay, so just find any apron you have on hand that works and put this on. That way you can save your clothing from any kind of splashback and damage from pouring it. Okay, and once that's on, just turn the heat off. Make sure you get oven mitts because this can get very difficult. So just pour it in slowly to avoid any splashback like that. Whoops, this goes there, but that's okay. Okay. So after you've strained your chai into your container of choice, in this case the measuring cup, you do have some options. What I like to do when I'm serving this to students is I'll make it ahead of time and I'll put it in a crock pot and let it sit on the counter and keep warm. You can pour it into a teapot, just pour it slowly, you're gonna make a huge mess. You can also just take your ladle, if you just want 1 cup right away, take a ladle and just pour it in to your cup so you can enjoy it like that. One other thing you can do is if you want to make iced chai, you can do that. Just put this in a container and put it in the fridge and let it chill overnight. But if you're going to make iced chai, what I'd recommend you do is take some of this and pour it into some ice cube trays and freeze those. That way when you put the ice into your iced chai, it won't dilute your chai. You'll have chai ice cubes to make it a strong flavored chai even when it's cold. So just some options you have for serving this either for yourself or for you and your friends.